Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Carson City Visitors Bureau fiscal year 2018 tentative budget hearing for date is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017, 4 p.m. And are you doing the roll call? Okay.
Jonathan Bower. Here. Karen Aboud. Here. Sandra Nagel. Here. Jesse Dami and Renee Plain are absent.
Okay, so please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. You got the flag in the wrong spot there. Okay. Any public comment? No public comment. Seeing none. All right. For possible action, adoption of agenda. Anyone see any reason as to why we need to move anything around on the agenda? All right. We will accept the agenda as is. And now, we will now open the public hearing to consider approval of the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget for the Carson City Visitors Bureau. I'll first allow questions by members of the CCVB staff, and then we'll open up to the public input, followed by additional questions from the DS. I will then close the hearing before we move on to the next agenda item, where we will take action to approve the budget. So we are open to questions by members.
Real quick, I'll go over just a couple of the changes, noted changes between the 2018 tentative budget and last year's. Starting out in your packet on page 3 of 15, you note that there is one change from last year, which is the third from the bottom, page 11. You have a Schedule T transfer reconciliation. This is now required when we do the transfer of the money that we approved a little over 2 years ago from the marketing for the train over to the fund, the third fund, which is outside of the V&T. So there is a Schedule T transfer. That's the only change there. Now, continuing on page 4 of 15, on full-time equivalent employees, one of the noted changes, you see the 3 columns. You've got actual prior year ending 16, estimated current year ending 17, and budget year 18 that we're approving today as a tentative. You can see that we've gone from 2.75 FTE to 2 for this year ending. We're going back to 2.75. What that reflects is Linda McCauley going from the Visitors Center back into the general fund. So she was originally in it, pulled her out when we did just a Visitor Center budget, now coming back into general fund. So that's the only noted change from last year. Continue on page 4 of 5. This is where you can see the Schedule T transfer reflected, which is in column 7. Under operating transfers in, you can see now that we've listed it under other revenue and then transferring it in once again from the V&T Capital Projects Fund. Those are the 3 funds that you're approving today, is the general, V&T, and the Capital Projects Fund. The other change, just to make sure that you're comfortable understanding where my revenue projections were for this year, on that same page 4 of 5, in other revenue 5, if you look down at the bottom, total revenue projection is $2,025,980. That is reflective of a 2.25% increase over what I'm estimating we're ending in our current fiscal year. So once again, very conservative, a little more conservative than what we did coming into this year, knowing that we had a legislative session, but I'm very comfortable and confident that we'll surpass that in our revenues. We've been really consistent, upwards of even up to 6 to 9%. Stay at 2.25 for the approval. Continuing on, and at any time if you have any questions on any of these pages, I can stop. So page 5, Schedule A1. Once again, if you're going down, you can see this is estimated expenditures. Total estimated expenditures noted on the front was $1.9 million. The difference between our projected revenues and our projected expenses this year is $60,000. That basically is what I've done in the last 4 years, about 10% of what our anticipated carryover is. Our carryover account, I'm looking at a $600,000 carryover, so 10% of that is what I try to leave within the budget between revenues and expenses. There are a few changes based on the fact that Linda did come over to general fund. So if you've done a comparison to last year's budget, you also on this will see now that you've got our arts and culture director as a full year within the salaries and benefits. Continue on to page 715. Once again, you've got the 3 columns, 16, 17, 18. There's no noted changes there other than just reflective of what our new revenues are based on new expenses also. Page 8 of 15. This is the general fund budget. You've got your general government salaries and wages. Once again, the first one under general government, you can see that it does go up under 18 as compared to year ending 17. As I've always built in potential merit increases for the employees and also the addition of the 3/4 time employee coming back into that general fund. Down under culture and recreation, that's all of our marketing costs and the addition of the arts and culture coordinator. But although you see it is going down, that's just reflective once again of the change of having the 1 employee 3/4 time coming over. Page 9 of 15. Once again, the only change there noted on mine is that you've had a transfer of 1 of the 3/4 time employees from culture and recreation up to the general fund government, which shows an increase. There's certainly going to be additional expenses because our revenues have gone up significantly. Last year, our approved budget was only $1.7 million. We're ending right near $2 million this year, staying pretty consistent at $2 million for 18. With that, you will see a lot of those expenses going up because we've got the opportunity to invest more in our marketing and advertisement. Continuing on the next fund, page 10 of 15 is our second fund. This is the V&T Capital Projects Fund. Everything here is based on percentages of revenue coming in from room tax. This is also where you're seeing that transfer form going over to marketing. We had approved 2 years ago that anything not required in this fund and also not using any of the reserves would go to the marketing effort with an inherent benefit for the V&T. Unless it's needed to pay off the bond. This year I can say that we finally are at the point once again where our revenues in the single fund for the bond payment is going to make that payment. So you'll see a full transfer over for our marketing. The next page, 11 to 15, is the third fund. This is the protected fund for just the bond payment. You will see a little bit going now into the carryover. We're going to have more money coming into that fund than what's required for the bond payment, and that'll carry over. Once again, that is tied in just for the bond payment, can't be used for anything else. It'll continue between now and the sunset of the bond in 2023, hopefully with these same increases in room revenue just to increase that carryover account. Looking back at the verbiage, the one thing it gives us the opportunity to do, if there's enough in 2023, we can look at paying off that bond earlier with the money because it is tied just to the bond payment. Continuing on 12 of 15, that's the transfer reconciliation. So you can see that we're transferring the $378,210 to the marketing. Page 13 of 15, this is existing contracts for the year. We've got the one contract for our annual audit with Cohn & Company. Nothing listed on page 14 of 15, which is additional, if there's additional contracts needed. The backup for the posting requirement for public notification is attached as 15 of 15.
All right, any questions by members of staff? All right, any public input on, okay. So I'll now move to close the hearing and go to the next agenda item for possible action to approve the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget for the Carson City Visitors Bureau.
I move to approve the adjusted fiscal year 18 budget for the CCVB as presented.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Motion passes. Thank you. Non-action items should be pretty quick. Upcoming meetings, you want to take that, Joel?
The next scheduled meeting for the Visitors Bureau Board will be our monthly meeting on June 12th. That's at 4 o'clock here in the Sierra Room. The next meeting of the Carson City Cultural Commission will be July 10th. That also will be our night for our annual meeting, our monthly meeting, July 10th. Outside of that, that's all I have scheduled.
And those dates worked for everyone, right? Okay. All right, any other public comment, discussion? All right, board comments, announcements?
Buy your tickets for the July 12th Concert Under the Stars. You can get them at the Visitors Bureau or at the BAC or online at carsоncitygreenhouse.org.
I hear it's going to be a very hot event. Yes. Good event.
And for the record, note that Renee Plain is present.
Should we do this all over again now? Because we said? All right, for possible action to adjourn? We are adjourned. Thank you.